humans, it's just Martine and welcome to a weekend reading vlog. As this happens so often lately, it was just doing a weekly reading vlog. It was getting too long. I don't know about you, you may like watching longer reading vlogs and that's fine, but I don't like editing longer reading vlogs. So we cut it off. We're starting this weekend vlog. I'm in the middle of a couple of things. Goals for this weekend. I'm going to hopefully finish Last Night at the Telegraph Club. I'm a fourth of the way through. I'm also reading a secret book, Teehee, and lots of other things. I'm in the middle of so many things. We're just gonna hang out for the weekend, chat about books. It's Saturday morning, almost 11 a.m. I've barely gotten any reading done today because I was doing editing instead. So here we are, hooray. I had Friendsgiving last night and I just have a plate of dinner rolls now. So I'm happy about that. Let's get reading. It's Sunday morning, it's really raining outside, and I'm just here to sit with you for a few moments and chat about books because I finished 2 of them last night. But yesterday was like a weird mental day. So I was like, I don't feel like talking to anyone, much less trying to describe my feelings on these books. So I didn't. So here we are, and I've got to tell you, both books I finished yesterday I gave 4 stars. So just go in knowing that. First I finished Paris Delincourt is about to crumble. Here's the thing that makes me the maddest about this last name, is I looked up how to pronounce it, and it's a French last name. Well, it would be, except the only pronunciation guide I could find was for this name, but without an N in it. So I was like, what the heck skis? Alexis Hall did it again. He's great. For a moment there, I was like, I'm not sure about this one, because the main character, Paris, has really bad anxiety. For most of the book, he just thinks he's a terrible person. Slight spoiler, but I think it's worth discussing. Later in the book, he gets diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. I think a lot of people will say, and I even already saw some reviews that say this, like, Paris is insufferable, so I didn't like this book. Here's the thing. If you go into this just expecting a light, fluffy, queer rom-com, then yeah, you probably won't be pleased to be inside the head of somebody with generalized anxiety disorder. But that doesn't make somebody insufferable. I think the person who wrote that might have DNF'd before the diagnosis came about, but I was like, it's clear that there's something wrong here. And I have to say, I appreciated that Alexis Hall was consistent with it. I appreciate that Alexis Hall didn't pull one of these tropes where like the love interest fixes the main character. That didn't happen. The only thing that helped Paris was getting actual help. And I approve of that message. If you don't want to be inside the head of somebody who is worried about everything all the time, don't read this book. But if you're willing to embrace the anxiety representation for what it is, which is consistent, I feel like highly accurate and well addressed over the course of the narrative, then definitely read this. There was nothing simple about this book. The cover makes it look really simple. The title suggests otherwise, right? But it looks simple and it's not. Alexis Hall really drew out the big guns here and was like, let's talk. Let's talk about how we interact with people with mental health issues. Let's talk about how that influences every aspect of their lives. Let's experience that through Paris as a main character, so that anybody who has never felt this way can get a very keen perspective into what the thought process of anxiety is like. Paris has really bad anxiety, so it might even be the case that somebody with anxiety does read this and goes, this is over the top or unrealistic, but I'm going to disagree with those people. I think this was a very realistic portrayal of the absolute spiral of anxiety sometimes. I'm done talking about that. Those are just my thoughts on it, and other people are willing to feel whatever way they feel about it, but I think this book did exactly what it meant to. But if you don't go in expecting that, or even open to the idea that it will be something outside of what it might look like from the outside, then sure, you're going to be disappointed. Me, I never go into books expecting anything. I don't know what this book is about, I'm just going in. So that worked perfectly fine for me. It did take me a couple days to get through just because it was really difficult. Sitting in Paris's head, it brings up uncomfortable feelings, but again, I think that's because it was well done. So that's on that. Moving on, I finished, sitting right in front of me, last night at the Telegraph Club. So we went with a very queer weekend. We love that for us. This, again, I also gave 4 stars. This is set in San Francisco during the Red Scare, so there's talks of like communism and stuff. It's a sapphic romance following this girl, Lily. I can't believe I remember a character's first name that's not on the cover of the book. And she's a senior in high school and starting to discover things about her identity and her feelings about things. And there's this one club, the Telegraph Club, where there's a male impersonator, and she gets interested in seeing that. And then things go from there as she strikes up a friendship with this girl from her school who seems to have things in common with her, etc., etc. The timeline jumps a bit so that we see kind of a well-rounded facet of Lily, from like what her parents were like to who her aunt is and how she got her interest in rockets and all that. So she was a very well fleshed out character. I think the timeline jumps messed with my sense of the narrative a little bit. Not to be blamed by the author at all, because there were timelines provided, timelines of important historic events, and then where the characters are falling in that for each section. So that was a my brain thing, not a like this book thing. I also didn't fully see the connection between the main character and the love interest like I did on some level, but not on others. They did talk about a lot of things, but I feel like we were not privy to a lot of those conversations, and that made it feel more like a distant connection than it truly was. So that's just a personal preference thing. So those are the 2 books I finished yesterday. We'll see if I finish anything today. Again, it's really rainy, so that could either mean I get a ton of reading done or none. Hello. Today I finished reading The Sanatorium. I'm giving this 3 stars. Overall, it was like a really fun time to read. I especially enjoyed / am enjoying the buddy read aspect of this, but there were some things about the plot that really annoyed me. Like the final reveal, I was like, really, we're relying on this now? Okay. And then some of the psychology was just wrong in a way that I've ranted about in, I think, a previous vlog, because it reminded me of the thoughts that I was having while reading The Therapist. Totally different books, very different plots to them, but there was just one psychological thing that I was like, not again. And I think it's pretty common in like mystery or thriller books for people to have that specific misconception. I wanted to tell you that I read it, because I did. I've loosely got some reading sprints happening back here, but we're just chilling. It's such a lazy day. The rain is like, I'm glad I don't have to spend my day going outside from place to place, but I just don't want to do anything. It's almost 9 p.m. and I just wanted to update you that tonight I read the entirety of Stuck With You by Ali Hazelwood, which is the second of the STEMinist novellas. I didn't like this one as much as I liked Under One Roof, so I gave this one 3.5 stars, but it was still like a fun, easy read, good time thing. They're very short books, so I don't want to say much to spoil it, but basically all 3 of the novellas in this series are an enemies to lovers type situation, but they're all quite different in their setups, so hopefully I'll read the 3rd and final one in that series at some point. I'm going to end this vlog here. If you'd like to go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what's your favorite novella, and subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!